Okay, everybody, here's the next bit. At some point, you're going to decide that your neck is the right size. This obviously is not a full size, but at some point, you're going to decide your neck is the right size, and you're going to go round and round and round. We're not there yet as far as my work goes. So let's talk about what we do next. This is your transition from the shoulder to arm, and it's a 3-row transition. I'm hoping you all figured out where to do your increase there. I don't know where I got that piece of yarn. So this row is how to describe it to you. We're going to finish up this, and we are going to do the short row turns that are going to turn this from a shoulder into a sleeve. So that's the plan for this one. So let's see what we can make happen here. This is a do nothing. We just slip this marker. Remember, we don't do any increases until we've passed this marker. And this is the last row that this shoulder line marker has any influence at all. So this marker right here on the shoulder is going to go away. Now, pull this marker. You are going to do a lifted increase here, and I don't care which direction you do the lifted increase. You can do the lifted increase forward by using this purl bump here. You can do the lifted increase backward by doing this purl bump here. It doesn't matter. You just need to do one lifted increase right in the middle where you pulled the marker. And that ends your shoulder. Either direction, it doesn't matter which direction you use. If you don't, you can just pull the marker and not do that increase, but it gives you a little bit of a sort of a tail wag on that shoulder line that probably nobody would notice but me, but I notice it, so I have to do something about it. Okay, so here we are. We are 2 stitches from the end of our shoulder, and I'm going to do my version of German short row. So my stitch has the leading leg and back. I put my needle through, I wrap my yarn over the top of my needle, and I make the stitch. Then I bring the yarn to the front, and I slip that stitch back to the other side. You see that? I have just done a short row turn. Now, I would suggest you do this stitch before you turn your work and work your way back. I don't usually turn my work. I just put the yarn in my other hand and work my way across. And that suits me. But for those of you who actually do turn your work, this is my solution to the German short row turn. When I get to the other end, I'm going to turn it to the front, and I'm going to do the same thing because I want, because I'm lazy. We all can freely admit that I'm lazy, and I want the turn to be exactly the same. So if you can get to where you can do some of the tricky things like that all on the front side, it makes it a little bit easier. So here we go. I am now at the point where I'm going to do my German short row. So I put my leading leg is in back. See my leading leg? I'm going to put my needle in and I'm going to wrap my yarn over the top of my tip and make the stitch. Then I'm going to put the yarn in front and pass that stitch over. And there I have two exactly matching German short row turns. And because I only do it on the front side, I never have to learn any other way, aka I'm lazy. So here we go. I'm gonna work my way all the way over to the other side, to the other shoulder, and I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is the German short row turn I did. I was going to knit all the way across, and I figured I'd better show this to you. This is the German short row turn I did, and because the way I knit it, the leading leg is in back, it just gets knit, and of course it vanishes because that's the magic of German short row. Slip this marker. Now, these two rows, the marker and the increase are exactly the same as the stuff we've been doing. So I'm going to reach back and I'm going to make my increase here. And I'm going to knit to the other side and we'll do a repeat. I'll be right back. So here we are. I'm at the other shoulder marker. I knit right by this one. We did nothing here. So I'm going to remove this marker. And I'm going to do the same lifted increase here that I did on the other shoulder. So that's done. And now the next thing is the German short row turn. We're actually going to do two sets of German short row turns, but the next one is a partial and it's on the, okay, so here I am, two stitches from the marker. Here's my marker. 2 stitches from the marker. My leading leg is in back. I'm going to go, I'm going to put my needle tip in and I'm going to wrap my yarn over the top of my needle tip and make the stitch. And then I'm going to put the yarn in front of my needle and slip the stitch I just made. And that makes my German short row. Now I'm not going to turn it this time. You know I can turn it and do the back side. I don't. It's the I'm lazy thing. I have done this so much, my tension is the same regardless of direction. When I get done with this, I'm going to show you. I have my blue stripe is past this point significantly, and I'll be able to show you what the shoulder looks like. It really looks nice. So here we are. This is my marker. We're 2 stitches from the marker. My leading leg is in back. I put my needle tip in. I wrap my yarn over the top. I put my yarn in front of the needle and pass that stitch over. And there's my turn. Now I'm going to knit to the end. I'm going to do my purl row, and I'm going to do the same increases we've been doing on the purl row. They will be the front. They will be this back raglan marker and this front raglan marker, because we go across the top of the shoulder before we do our increases. Okay, I'm going to knit back to the front and show you what we're doing with the next set of short returns. Alright, I have knit all the way back across. I increased here, and I'm from the front. Alright, this is our second row of short row turns. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. I need I need half of that. So my first turn is going to be 7. That's kind of half of 13. My first turn is going to be at 7 stitches past the center line. If you take the number of stitches per half and roughly divide it in 2, you want your short row turn to be this section in the middle. This row, as far as increases goes, gets treated just like the row, the knit row before. All right, there's my center. So I'm going to turn on the 7th stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is my 7th, and I'm going to do it just like before. I'm going to put my needle through, I'm going to wrap my yarn over the top, I'm going to bring the yarn to the front and slip that stitch, and then I'm going to stitch back to the middle, and then I'm going to start my 7 count again. I don't know what your count will be. It needs to be 1/4 of the width of the stitch count for the. So here I am at the center. Mine's going to be 7. Alright, here's the 7th. This is the one I'm going to do my turn on. My leading leg is in back. I put my needle through. I wrap over the top and make the stitch. I bring the yarn to the front, and it's done. Now when I get to the marker following the center, I'm going to do an increase, and I'm going to do exactly this same thing on the other shoulder. Let me get past this shoulder and I'll show you what the short rows have done for turning the corner between the shoulder and the sleeve. It's really clever. Alright, there's my turn. Here's my stitch marker for the back raglan, and I do my increase. That is the last shoulder increase that gets done. So look at this. This is really clever. Do you see how it makes the turn between the shoulder and the sleeve? We now have a sleeve. So give me just a second. I'm going to show you my other sweater. Okay, this is the sleeve. This is the rows we just finished right here, where the short row, where the German short row is, and this is where it turns from a shoulder to a sleeve. Isn't that clever? Look at the shape. It gives you that beautiful shape where your arm will just fit right in there. It's really cool. Okay, here we are. I'm at the other shoulder. I have 7 stitches. I'm going to make my turn in the 7th stitch. I put my needle through, wrap over the top, bring the yarn to the front, and there's my German short row turn. Then I'm going to stitch back, knit back to the center, and I'm going to knit and make my turn in the 7th stitch go in the opposite direction. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to do my German short row here. Leading leg is in back. I wrap the yarn over the top of the needle, put the yarn in front, and it's done. Alright, I'm going to knit all the way to the end, and this is really important, so listen carefully. No increases on the purl side row, none. You're going to skip every single marker, you're going to leave the markers in place, but you're